everybody?
What's up, man? Scott T. Gregorio here.
We're good.
All right.
So we are in Naples today.
We are in Naples.
Right.
Dude, what are we talking about?
I want to say two things before we get into whatever it is that we're talking about. Number one, we can do condos with an FHA loan right now.
FHA condos
That's
in the
important.
house. What's up,
you
people?
You need to understand that. If you have a seller, if you have a listing presentation, and it's a condo, and you don't mention that, you're not being smart, okay? If you have any type of listing presentation and you're gonna go to a condo, oh, look at that. I never charge my phone, man. Anyways, if you have a listing presentation to a condo, you gotta let them know, hey, now we can do FHA. Not everybody knows this. I'm gonna promote the crap out of this, and let's do it. So, anyways, condos for FHA, which means that we can do reverse mortgage for FHA too.
Which is big.
You can also purchase with a reverse mortgage, so I'm just gonna throw that out there, and we'll talk about reverse mortgage another day. And then the last thing I want to say is, again, guys, I have somebody under contract that's bringing $300 out of pocket. $300 out of pocket to buy this house because they're using that one-on-one program. It's a conventional loan. Their payment is the same as if they were to put the 3% down. They're only bringing $300. And guys, $300. I mean, think about what you spend $300 on. You can
buy half an iPhone.
You can buy half an iPhone.
Or a third of an iPhone.
You can spend it on a freaking house. Hit me up for that. Hit us up for that.
Okay, but look,
that's it. I'm done. See you later, guys.
I think it brings forth a bigger question, which is, dude, I love getting text messages. Hey, Scott, I have a lead for you. But I think it brings up a bigger text message,
those
right?
type of text messages.
The number one challenge that people have towards home ownership is down payments.
Yes.
Okay? And in fact, I read a statistic, a startling, not startling, a pitiful statistic. 39% of Americans don't have $1,000 in an emergency fund to handle something that comes up.
Right.
Dude, less than $1,000. So you can't rent shit for less than $1,000 out of pocket. So what I thought, why don't we talk a little bit, I mean, you and I pick through people's finances all day long. Why don't we talk a little bit about the type of mistakes that people make with their personal financial lives? Why don't we talk about some solutions that people could implement to put themselves in a greater financial position? Because here's the deal, okay? What most people think is that financial security is contingent on how much you make.
Yeah, and
it's wrong, man.
It's not.
It's based on how much you spend.
Obviously, it's not being naive either. The more you make, the more opportunities you have.
Yes, opportunity being the key word.
Yes, to be able to be better off. But yeah, it's true. There's a lot of people that we put credit on. There's a lot of people that unfortunately we end up declining that have very, very high income, but they have crazy amounts of debt. They have no money in the bank. Have no money in retirements or investments or anything like that. And that's the worst part because they're used to a certain lifestyle that they can't keep up with,
and they're going to have to work
in retirement.
Yeah, and look, let's throw everybody a lifeline here, okay?
I'm gonna charge my phone. Sorry, guys.
Money is I'll just run with it. Money is not taught in America today. It's not taught in our school systems. It's not taught in high schools. It's not taught in the universities. Money is not taught. And in fact, by the way, hit me up if you want to be a part of this. I'm actually launching a financial literacy class here in middle schools in Lee County. Paul Lawrence Dunbar Middle is going to be the first school I'm going to be teaching at. I'm going to try to bring it to other places. But people aren't taught about money, budgeting, credit, compounding interest. Like, the average American just doesn't understand it, so it's not surprising that they're not making good choices.
What's crazy is you can go to college. I went to college, I got my degree, and coming out of college, I didn't even know how to open a bank account. I mean, it's embarrassing, but it's true. There's a lot of people, even the people that go to finances, to get a degree in finances, they can talk to you about macroeconomics, they can talk to you about, maybe what's happening with certain types of stocks and things like that, but when it comes to personal finances, they are illiterate.
Yeah, and look, I dropped out of college and I had the same experience. So whether you finish or not, you don't understand. So look, let's talk about, let's get into it, okay? The number one area where people just literally piss away too much money is food. Okay, which there's a little bit of a pun there, but not that great a There is
That joke.
I'll give you an example. Okay, I sat down with this couple, a really, really nice couple. It's an older couple. They were in their 70s, and they had decent fixed income. It was a VA mortgage, and I got them closed for no money out of pocket. It was great. But when I was talking to them, they were like, "Look, I can't save any money." And I start picking through their things, and what they tell me was, their thing was, they had lunch out. They went out to lunch every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I was like, wow, that's great. Where do you go? Well, we go to Jason's Deli, we go to Bob Evans, we go to Mills Diner. I'm like, that's fantastic. I go, what do you spend? They go, it's not expensive. I go, I'm sure it's not. What do you spend? And at the end of the day, they were spending between $18 and $30 a day. And I explained to them that on the high end of that, we're knocking on close to $1,000 a month being spent on lunch. And my advice to them, which they did not follow for the record, but my advice to them was, look, for the next 60 days, eat near Lanai. Like, stop going out to eat and cut down on that, you know? And I think that's the key. Like, people don't track, and they don't really understand.
People don't track, yeah.
Right? A paycheck comes in, they pay their bills, the responsible ones, they pay their bills, right? And the money that's left over just it's fugazi. It's funny money. It just vanishes, and people don't know where it's going or how it's gone or whatever, and they don't realize that the little Starbucks purchases here and the little croissant you buy there and all these little expenses add up to literally $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a year.
Look, and there's a lot of cool resources now that you can subscribe to for free. Everydollar.com is one that I used to use.
Yeah, Mint.com is a good one.
Mint.com is another one. And even your own banks will track the amount of money that you spend in a month. And you can see where you're spending that money. And guys, the cash flow that somebody needs, it's really a big difference. And if you make small adjustments, like he's saying, maybe stop going out for lunch, and then you start seeing that money that you have left over, whether it is just for savings to be able to buy a house or to be able to do something like that, or take a vacation even, or whatever it is for sanity, or whether it is for thinking in the future, thinking about retirement. I talk to a lot of people my age, and I think the biggest problem is that, and going into retirement, I think the biggest problem that a lot of people my age have is it's also the biggest advantage that we have, which is time.
Yes.
Because we have time, because we think we have a lot of time, then a lot of us don't start investing, don't start putting money away for retirement, don't start even thinking about ways of how we're going to retire, because we say, well, we have plenty of time.
Right. And look, there's an economic principle called the Rule of 72. And basically the Rule of 72 says that at whatever interest rate, your money will double in that multiple of 72. So 6%, whatever. So the average stock market gain is 7% over the last 50, 100 years. So what that means is 7 into 72 is 10. So that means that your money doubles every 10 years.
Right.
Okay. So by starting to invest at 25 versus 35, your money will double. You'll have twice as much money. Starting to invest at 25 versus 45, you'll have 400% more money when you retire. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. Like, you could literally start with $100 a month.
That's the thing. It's super intimidating for somebody, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to go to a big bank and talk to a big financial advisor and spend $10,000 or, I know we're in Naples here and it's a little intimidating, You walk into a bank, people say, oh, the minimum thing to even talk to me is going to be $100,000. Again, the beauty about this technological world that we're living in, before the robots come and destroy us, is that we can take advantage of these things.
Done.
We can go to places like Vanguard and brokerages where there's no fee transactions.
E-Trade. I mean, look, there's a million resources, and look, everybody do your research and stuff. What matters?
We're not financial advisors.
Yeah, I mean, but what matters is this, man. You got to start to think about it. And look, let me tell my story, because here's the truth. Giving this advice is a lot easier than living this advice, okay? And I think what's important is that people put tools and structures in place to protect themselves from themselves, okay? For a long time, I had my savings account at the same bank as my checking account. And all too often I was going into my savings account and sweeping money into my checking account to keep things where I wanted them to be. Okay,
Sure.
now very often I'm doing that to buy crap I don't need. Okay, I mean, thankfully I know better to put on credit at least.
Right.
But what I did was I split up my direct deposit. So I have a percentage of my paycheck that goes into a checking account, but it goes into a checking account in a totally different bank. That bank I don't have a debit card to. I don't have paper statements. I literally don't really know how much is in there. Ish, I do. So a chunk of my money, of my income, about 10%, goes into this account automatically. And I just automatically live on the remaining 90%. And the truth is this, you could, 99% of Americans can actually do that. They could live on 80 or 90 or 95% of their income.
Just by changing habits.
Yeah, and they're small habits. It's eating out.
Look, if you have a home, an entry-level home, blah, 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 you did that for those 45 days or for those 30 days or for those 22 days if you used us while you were buying that house. You cut on your expenses because you needed to show enough money to be able to buy a house. It was annoying, it was all that. You got a house at the end, right? So, and I know we started this by saying that, we have somebody coming with $300 out of pocket. The truth of the matter is, look, if we can give you the option of coming with only $300 out of pocket as opposed to putting the 3%, that's great if you make the decision to only come up with the $300 out of pocket. But if you only have $300 to your name, maybe you shouldn't buy it right now.
Yeah, and that's, look, because the truth is this, man, there's other expenses that go into buying a house. You got
$500, okay.
Yeah, you got to move, you got to turn on utilities. And look, as a homeowner, let's say it's fine getting in the door with $300. As a homeowner, crap breaks.
Oh, yeah.
And you need savings for that. So look, what I would tell you is this, okay? There's a great book that I love, Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover. Buy the book. Read the book and make it a family thing. Read it with your spouse. Maybe read it with your children, and establish a household budget. Money. Oh, so true, man.
Please teach your kids about money early.
One of the things I do, and you girls are still a little young, but one of the things I did with my children is I would give them. So we'd all go grocery shopping, and I would give them a portion of the shopping list, and I would say, look, that portion should cost you about X dollars, $40. However, if you could find sale items and you could kind of cut down on that, I will let you keep. So I will pay you $40 to buy these groceries. And if you could get the groceries for less than that, you can keep the difference.
That's cool.
Okay, and even now, one of my girls would come to me and go, "Hey, Daddy, Aeropostale's having a great sale on jeans." I'm like, "How much are they?" This is recently. Layla was like, "They're $7 a pair." I'm like, "Honey, load up." Right? So my children now, and Layla's 16, so my kids at 14, 16, and 18, as we record this, are just dialed in to sales and BOGOs and coupons and things of that nature because I forced them to think about money in a fun way. I didn't sit them down and lecture them. Kids don't want to hear that crap. But I created games and rules and things. I would give them hey, listen, we got to do this. And they would say, well, why? And I would explain to them the budgeting piece. And I did that when they were 6, 8, and 10 years old.
Right.
So, dude, we got to teach our kids about money. But in order to do that, we have to understand money.
Yes. We have to understand the money. We have to understand a lot of components, right? And we have to understand the financials of your day-to-day life and understanding that if you make some cuts, that can make a difference. We have to understand the long-term potential of money in something that's, generating a little bit of money. We have to understand investing. All these things are very, very important. It's worth for you to spend some time read on this and start implementing. Start implementing little by little, baby steps. Dave Ramsey talks about baby steps all the time. And then, look, we want to start talking about these things a little bit more. And we can get into fun stuff. We're not going to get into that today, but, man, what about all these credit card points?
Yeah,
that would be
using? Dude, and bro, I mean, please,
right, that's cool, man.
You have blown my mind with how much free travel you could get by leveraging credit cards, but that still requires a level of discipline.
Of course,
okay,
everything does.
So look, a couple takeaways.
Sure.
Okay, number one, everybody needs to read Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Okay, I'm a big fan of that book. Secondly, invest time in understanding money and credit.
Yes.
Okay. We live in the information age, so just take the time to learn the information. Take an hour a week and read a book or listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video or something and start to understand the basic rules about money.
Do a self-analysis every once in a while. Look, we work different. We're running a business, right? I have to do it way more often than people that are salaried, but still, do a self-analysis. These are my expenses this year. This is how much I'm making. This is how much you should save. Set yourself goals. Like, really treat this. Look at your profit and loss. Look at your bank account. Look at what's coming in and what's coming out. And really, really study that. Because it's important. That's how you keep score.
And I agree with you 100%. And I've given this advice to more clients than I could count, is grab your last 3 months bank statements. And this is painful. But grab your last 3 months bank statements and literally write down where all your money went. And you're going to want to vomit when you're done looking at that, because I guarantee you're shocked. Thanks for the like. You'll be shocked at how much money you piss away on We love you, man. How much money you piss away on restaurants and Starbucks and all of this other crap. And look, I am not, and Dave Ramsey also says this, like, I am not proposing that you don't enjoy any of your money. What I'm proposing is that you decide in advance how much money you're going to piss away. And then please piss it away. Enjoy. Life's too short, man. We don't know when the big man's bringing us home. So I'm not sitting here saying save every nickel. And I'm not saying that, man. Spend some money and live. But there we go. Everybody, please give him likes instead of me, because his fragile ego needs them. But just be deliberate about it. Dave Ramsey's founding principle is give every dollar a name. And part of the, you can name some of the dollars like piss away dollars. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So be deliberate about your money. Understand where you're spending. Have weekly financial meetings.
Talk about money.
Okay, live below your means. And by the way, I know people that I do loans for that make $38,000 a year and have a very comfortable retirement ahead of them. I have other people I do loans for that make $500,000 or $1 million a year, and they're not even close to having their retirement funded. So please, please, please don't think when you make more money you'll be fine. Okay, it's just as easy to piss away $150,000 a year as it is $50,000 a year. Trust us, we see it each and every day.
What's the name of the book again?
Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. It should be required reading for everybody.
Yeah. Just read the book. The reason I mentioned the credit card points and all that is because, look, Dave Ramsey is not a fan of credit cards.
Right.
We don't subscribe to one person, and it's important for you to kind of like understand the whole thing, see what works for you, and implement it. Guys, we're talking about this because, like Scott was saying, 39% of Americans don't have $1,000 or have less than $1,000 in their bank account. I don't remember the stat, but a staggering amount of people don't have enough money for retirement.
And by the way, and we could do a whole episode of this, but $1 million mathematically is not enough money for retirement. A lot of people have to understand that when a lot of these like financial rules were established, the average life expectancy was way shorter than it is now. It's why our Social Security system is so screwed up. So the average, in America today, the average man lives to 87, the average woman lives to 92. So we're talking, we're knocking on 30 years of retirement money. And by the way, my children's generation, the average life expectancy is 115 to 120. My generation's over 100, and yours is, so look,
gonna live to 180.
We need to plan for decades of retirement. Decades.
Yes, we do. And it's not sexy to think about retirement because it's not quick, but it's possible, and the quality of life is going to be much better. Point is, guys, there's a lot of actions that you can take today to set yourself up better. And look, if you do things like you pay off your house, or if you do things like you save some money, you're going to have more opportunities, like reverse mortgages. We started this thing with reverse mortgages. It's a beautiful loan. We'll talk about that on another live, but it's a beautiful loan, and it's a great opportunity for somebody to have more for retirement. So
that's what we got.
That's what we got, guys.
That's what we got. And by the way, for anybody who's thinking about buying a house down the road, we do not charge. I sit down with people on a regular basis that are 6-12 months out from buying a home, and I help them get their credit and their financial lives in order. Maybe it's a taxation conversation we're having, maybe it's a credit, maybe it's budgeting. But if you're thinking about buying a home and you're not sure how to get from point A to point B, we are always available to talk to you, educate you, guide you, because we're talking big principles, like basic principles here. Everybody's situation is unique, and that is something that we spend a lot of time doing for people.
And this is an amazing time to do that too, right? It's the end of the year. Maybe you need to start thinking about what's going to happen next year. Maybe you start thinking about what's going to happen with your tax return. If you get a tax return, maybe if you're self-employed, you're thinking about how you're going to do your taxes to set yourself in a better position to purchase something. Now is the time to talk to us. Now is the time to sit down. Like he's saying, it's absolutely free. Just sit down with us. We'll tell you what we think about the market. We'll tell you what we think, where things are going. And we'll tell you what we think you should start doing in order to position yourself to achieve whatever home ownership goal you have. Whether it's investment property, whether it's refinancing, cash flow, whatever it is. We can talk to you about that. It's absolutely free. And we're the best.
That's it, man. We will see you guys next Friday, everybody. Take care. Have a great day and a better weekend.
What's up, Wendy?